What the fuck was that?
I can't do the whole thing like this. Hang on. There we go. Welcome to the Gallagher Shots YouTube channel. Welcome to the home of the Always Smiling Faces podcasts. And this is another player ratings for Newcastle United with me, Emil. And it was a game against Fulham. A 0-0 draw at home to bottom of the table Fulham. Doesn't seem very Christmassy, so I've tried to wear this hat, but unfortunately Santa couldn't bring us much in this game. We did get a point though, so let's try and look at some of the positives as we go in. Starting with the man who normally is quite reliable to begin with, but Martin Dubravka. He made some decent saves as always, however, he didn't really have much bothering him. I think it's clear to see that that striker couldn't do it, so thank God for that. However, there was a free kick that Fulham had, which I think if any other keeper had been in goal, I would have been a bit worried about. And I kind of went, ooh, as it happened, thinking this could be awful. But ultimately, you've got Dubravka in goal. He does put you at ease in those situations. He doesn't put you at ease when he's got a striker, namely Alexander Mitrovic, running towards him, and suddenly he thinks, oh, I'm going to have a go on the ball here. No. Stick to keeping. You can use your hands if you can, of course, but please, just don't mess about in the last few minutes of the game. We didn't want like a Barini moment of Mitrovic going on the Lees' ledge and just going mad, because he probably would have. He probably would have gone and slide tackled Rafa if he'd scored. 7 for Dubravka. Javier Manquillo, our quite decent star player at the minute, certainly after the Huddersfield game. You know, I think he was attempting to be creative. He was showing that attacking prowess that we liked. He did look tired as the game went on. I think we're aware of that, but as ever, filling in for Yedlin, not too bad. There was some crosses in there, but the attackers just couldn't latch onto. I think Manquillo needs to be part of this camp. They need to go and work on crosses in training in the run-up to Boxing Day. Yeah, I think not great, but not bad, so we'll go for a 6 for Manquillo. Yedlin replaced him, and to be honest, I know he came back from suspension, but Yedlin, it does fill you with a bit of hope when he comes on. He's got a bit of hunger. He was going forward. He was trying some better crosses into the box. And if Yedlin had maybe come on earlier, then who knows? I'm not really sure why he didn't come on earlier, because he wasn't like injured or anything, was he? Anyway, Jamal Lascelles, back to his best. I think it was really nice to see a real captain's performance from him. He's proven he's on the up. Whatever setbacks he's had, whatever confidence he's lacked, he's getting it back. And he kept out Fulham's late attempts. The first one, where it was a questionable block, a lot of people thought Dubravka did it, but no, it kind of came off here, off Lascelles. But, you know, that's fine. The slide on Kamara at the end was something that I think we love to see from Lascelles. And, you know, it was kind of Woodgate-esque in terms of last ditch, getting the ball, not conceding a penalty, solid challenge, and I think it was heart-stopping for those final few moments. It was good to see improvement. I'm going to reward him with an 8 this week. I think he was really the best player on the pitch. Fabian Schär, now, he had his birthday. Happy birthday, big man. Hang on. But he can't wink, so yeah. Yeah, if it had been against any other team with Schär, I think those mistakes could have been costly. He seemed slightly off the pace, maybe had a few too many bevs in the week from his birthday, but he was able to deal with Fulham. He was still, you know, going in with those challenges. I think I'd prefer to have him at the back than a combination of Clark and Lascelles. And although it was some of his sloppiest play, it was still a strong presence there. Dropping him down to a 6 though, so work hard, Fabian, and we'll see what we can do for Christmas. Paul Dummett, decent first game back, I think, full game back at least. There was a bit of familiarity in defence with him and Lascelles there. He might have been a bit slow when Fulham were counter-attacking, but as always, he wasn't really too fussed when he was going in for a tackle, never shying away from it. He's one of those people as well, though, who couldn't get crosses in. So, yeah, Dummett, get to crossing going. Sort it out, mate. I'll give him a 6 plus 1. Matt Ritchie, usual game from him. He was hammering down the wing, good crossover play, couldn't get the final ball to connect though with a striker. He did make 11 crosses, but nothing came from it. He was doing a lot of back and forth as always. Ritchie's one of those players who does like to basically work across the pitch, and it was a bit of a frustrating game, I think, really, but I'll give him a 6 as well. It's a pretty average performance really going forward now. Diame though, I say that, Diame I think had one of his best games in terms of how he plays. You know, we can either say Diame was quiet or Diame made a lot of decent challenges. In this one, I think he was making a fair few decent challenges. He's never going to light up the field. He's not a striker. He's not a goalkeeper. He's never going to make something spectacular happen. But from what I saw, he was bossing the centre, really like making sure that Fulham weren't getting too much open play, and he kind of shut them down where he could. Maybe lacked heading forward. You know, there's always this thing when Diarmi gets in scuffles just before the box. He seems to not really know what to do with it. But what do you expect from a mainly defensive guy? I thought he had a decent game. I'll give him a 7. Key and Diarmi, to be honest, their ratings over the last few weeks, they go hand in hand. But it tends to be, however the game went, Fulham were frustrating to play against. And I think Key, he did have a decent game. He saw a lot of the ball, and he always gives himself a lot of time to think. I think that is the thing that we like the most in terms of that calm, collected presence. He doesn't seem to panic on the ball, and he negotiated good passes to both the wings. He saw a lot of it, like I said. He will be missed with this Asia Cup fiasco going on, so let's just keep our fingers crossed. Options, what have we got? Hayden coming in, hopefully Shelby might be back. We'll just have to wait and see. We'll give Key a 6. Did I say that? I've lost track already. Christian Hatsu, we're going to him. Another player who I think needs to work on crossing. It just seemed to be that people were fizzling balls into the box that don't beat the first man. Hatsu, really no good with those. His performances at the minute, that being said, have been decent. I think that he's maybe coming to the end of this period where he was impressing at first, certainly in the Everton game, but it's gone down and down and down. Slowly, Atsu's going to get back to the player that he was at the start of the season, coming off the bench and not really doing much. We could do with better options. His performances are good for the energy, but he doesn't change a game. He isn't doing anything when he gets to the final third. He's not being able to score. I don't think it was his best. It's kind of neither here nor there, so I'm going to have to give him a 5. He was deservedly off for Kennedy, who, in honest opinion, I honestly think he looked a lot brighter. Kennedy came on, I was thinking, oh, well, we'll see what happens. But maybe he's booked his ideas up after Huddersfield, because that was an absolute nightmare for him. But he had a crack at Fulham. Kennedy seems that he was trying to work things in, but he needs to quit with these skewed shots. You know, that ball that he had in the second half is currently having a pint in the strawberry, I think. But, you know, at least he's trying something. Maybe don't listen to the crowd when everyone goes, shoot, but he seemed to, so unlucky not to have that penalty in the last few. But what can you do? We're at home. Martin Atkinson is never going to give us a penalty. We'll give Kennedy a 6. He was on the pitch long enough to give him something. Perez, ooh, right. Back to the drawing board. You know, 2 8s from me, that's 2 weeks, and it's gone to his head. He was shut down by Fulham, and it was way too easy. He was swamped by all their players whenever he got the ball. I know that's the game that Fulham wanted to play, but he just didn't really do anything otherwise to back up this celebration. People are going to get on your back, mate, if you don't keep up that consistency, like I said last week against Huddersfield. No shots in a game from an attacker is pretty poor, especially when he's like your secondary attacker to Rondon. Poor service, that being said. The crosses weren't doing anything, you know. Free kicks could have maybe gone towards Perez, because we know he can flick him in, but he never looked like getting anywhere. I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to take it back down to a 4. It was like he disappeared. Rondon, not a great amount of service again. Crosses weren't working in his favour, but he was just another player in the box, really, when he was in with the Fulham defence. He didn't really stand out as saying, right, I'm the big man who's going to get this ball on my head and get a goal. However, one thing we did see, and I think this is a big plus from yesterday, was the difference between him and Mitrovic. Okay, neither of them scored goals, but did you see Mitrovic pegging back and trying to win balls and having to do stuff on his own? That is the player that we lost and has gone now. And I think Rondon is a far better player, because he looked as though he was challenging for balls. And yet, when he was on his own, he couldn't really create much for himself. He looked a bit isolated, but maybe waiting for the team to catch up. I don't know. It wasn't a great game from Rondon, especially when you've had no shots on target against a team who've had no clean sheets until now. I'm going to have to give him a 5. Sorry, Solomon. That hurts at Christmas for me to say it. What can I say? Fulham came for a point. We gifted it to them, really, wrapped up from Marks and Spencer's. But it was typical that we would break a record of a team who've not managed to keep goals out this season. However, booing them off at the end, really? Grow up, man. How are you expecting an iPad for Christmas? You'll probably cry if you don't get that, will you? Take a look at the support away from home, right? All the singing of who's that team you call United, that video that you've liked, you've retweeted, you've shown the bands. That is what we need at home. our form on the road speaks for itself. And look at the performances. They go hand in hand. That is why, as we head to Anfield, I'm of course expecting 6-0 to us. Dream a little, it's Christmas. All the best, all the best. And before I go, he won't be seeing this because he doesn't watch these videos. Merry Christmas, and I'm sorry to say that Decca is a Tory. Namaste.
I love you, Fabian!